Welcome back to our video lesson. This is the fourth video in our series how to
practice Burmese pronunciation.
correct.
And this time our focus is on Burmese nasalization. So we'll talk about Burmese nasal consonants and nasal vowel sounds.
Nasalization is not an unknown concept to most languages, and many users actually use nasalization without paying much attention to it. In Burmese, however, it's really important because it makes a difference.
Yeah. For example, if you take the two words ti and thing in Burmese, the first one ti, it carries the creaky tone I, and it means to know. But when you say thing with the nasal sound in, then you mean to learn or to teach. So just by making the difference between the vowel sounds, you give different meanings in the words.
And in order to make those differences clear, we link the pronunciation, the nasalization, to the script, which makes it, or which looks perhaps a bit difficult at the beginning, but believe us, it's the best way to understand the subtle differences.
Yeah.
Enjoy the lesson.
So let's enjoy the lesson.
This is the alphabet table, and here are the 4 nasal consonants.
Nga, nya, na, ma. Let's focus on the letter ng, which carries the consonant sound ng, which you can find in the English word singing, but it occurs in the middle of the word. In Myanmar, however, this consonant occurs at the beginning of the word. For example, nga, which is the informal I instead of jano, jama, and nga with a high tone, which means fish. This nasal nga belongs to the first row in the alphabet table, where all the letters follow the same position of tongue when you articulate these letters. Now you can observe, listen, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga.
Now let's look at the next nasal consonant letter, which is
nya, which carries the sound nya, which you can hear in the middle of the word shinyong. But in Burmese, this nasal occurs at the beginning of the word. Our examples are nya, which means night, and nyaza, which is dinner. And the nasal letter nya belongs to the second row in the alphabet table, which is sa, sa, za, za, nya. Again, all the letters follow the same position of the tongue in articulation.
the next 2 nasal letters, na and ma, are relatively easy because they are familiar in English and their sounds even occurs at the initial position, like in near, no, more, or my.
Here are the Burmese examples. The first one, na, and the next one, me. Like in the cases of nga and nya, the nasal letters na and ma share the same tongue position as the letters in the same rows. Shall we listen? Da, ta, da, da, na, ba, pa, ba, ba, ma.
Now let's move on to the nasal vowel sounds. Nasalization is quite common in other languages too. Take for instance French, where you find nasalization everywhere. As example, bon in bon voyage, or pain, which means bread.
Here we will present the 6 basic nasal sounds in Burmese: in, an, ein, on, ein, au. The first nasal sound in can be written in the two ways. The first one is nga plus the killer symbol, whose function is to kill the initial consonant sound nga and to create a new sound, which is in this case. The second form is with the small nya plus the killer symbol again. This time we use this special nya, which is a reduced form of the original nya from the alphabet. In the examples, you can see how the nasal vowel sounds are put next to the consonant letters. In the first one, you have thing with the letter th. And the next one, you have jien with the letter ja, but the whole word is yin sa za, which is an expression quite popular in Burmese songs. The nasal sound an could be written in three forms. The first form contains the letter na plus the usual killer symbol, while the second one has ma plus the killer symbol. The last one is quite interesting. You have the dot above the letter, which gives the same nasal sound an. This time our three examples have the letter la. And let's see the first one, lan. And the next one is also lan. And the two examples, they carry the high tone, which is indicated by the marker, the two dots.
And the writing is different, but the sound is the same.
Yes.
And the third example?
Yeah, the third example just contains the low tone, because in this kind of spelling, you don't even have the high tone. So it is a lan with lan in the low tone. The two forms of a could be compared to the previous symbols for the nasal sound an, because you have the same na plus killer and ma plus killer. The difference is the small circle above the initial consonant. And together these combined symbols give the sound a. Our examples this time are pe and a, both in the low tone. This time the nasal sound is o, for which we have three symbols. If you look at the three symbols for o, you could compare the similarity between the ones for o and those for an. So you just put a stroke under the initial consonant, and that would give you a different nasal sound o. The two examples are kong and tho. The first one, kong, contains na plus killer and the stroke under the initial letter ka. And the second one, with a different symbol, a dot above the initial letter tha. And then you have the marker for the high tone. So it is thong. We should remind you about the second symbol. This one is normally used in Pali text, and so you will not see that very often in a simple Burmese text.
Therefore, we don't have an example here.
The nasal I is composed of very complex structure. You have the symbols for O, with the circle above the letter and the stroke underneath the initial letter. And then you have the symbol for in, which is nga plus the killer. And altogether it gives the sound I. Our first example is sai, with the letter sa accompanied by the nasal symbols for I. And the second example is Thai with the letter ta. And both are in the low tone. This is the last nasal sound, ao, again with the complex script. And this time you have the symbol for a, the one for a, plus the symbol for the nasal in, which is nga plus killer. And altogether it gives the sound ao. The first example for this nasal ao is kaung, which is very common in the phrase ne kaung la, which means how are you? Are you well? And the second example is maung, which is very useful for you when you talk to a taxi driver. For example, you could say Shwedagong Phaya go maung ba. Please drive me to the Shwedagong Pagoda.
Now let's do an exercise. Here you have 3 sentences, 1 question and 2 possible answers, 1 positive, 1 negative. You will hear all the 3 sentences, and after this, identify the nasal vowel sounds that you hear. Listen.
Tmine hin samala in same hin masabu. Let's have a look at the solution. For the first one, you have 2 words with the nasal vowel sound, which are me in the word tame, which means rice, and hen, meaning curry. Then for the second sentence, the word with the nasal sound is in, the same vowel sound again in the high tone. We have the usage of this word for yes in colloquial Burmese. And for the last sentence, yes, you have the 2 words with the same nasal sound, but the first one is with a creaky tone, hen, and the next one, in. So the same as the word in the second sentence. And hen together means no in colloquial Burmese.
And here is the next exercise. 1 question, 1 answer. Listen.
Ne kaung la in kaung ba de. Here is the solution for you. In the first sentence, you have the word with the nasal sound ao, which is kaung. And in the second sentence, you have 2 words. Kaung is repeated here, and the familiar in, yes, in a colloquial Burmese.
And here's our last exercise. 5 sentences, and listen to all of them and identify the nasal vowel sounds. Listen.
Ka maung tin ni de. Ka lan bi ga saung ni me. Lan de hi. Di sign ga yan su nyan de. Tu ain ga yong ne ni de. In the first sentence, we have 2 words with the nasal sounds. The first one is maung in ka maung, meaning drive. And the next one is ten, which means to learn. And in the second sentence, there are 2 words with different nasal sounds. The first one is lan in ka lan be, which means the roadside. It is in the high tone. And the next one is sound, meaning to wait, creaky tone. In the third sentence, we have the word lan again, which sounds exactly the same as the first lan, but in a different script. It is the word you use to refer to someone looking great or gorgeous. And in the fourth sentence, there are 3 words with 3 different nasal sounds. And the first one is Tsai, I in the low tone, that refers to restaurants. And the next word is Jian in a Jian, meaning very, which is in a high tone. And the last one is Nian in the low tone, in the word Su Nian, which means noisy. And in the last sentence, there are two words with different nasal sounds. Ain in the low tone, which means house. And the next one, Zhou in the high tone, meaning office.
Okay, this concludes our exercises.
We hope you gained the concept of Burmese nasalization from this video in terms of our explanations and examples, which we hope you find useful in your Burmese usage.
Yes, and next time we will continue with glottal stops. Quite exciting. We hope you join us again.
Jesu de Marishan.
Goodbye.